Aloha and welcome to Making Love Visible. My name is June Dillinger, and maybe you recognize me from several years ago. I had a show here on Olelo, and it was called It's All About Love. I have decided to return to the big screen of Hawaii and with Olelo, and I'm really excited to be back. I received an invitation, and I just couldn't say no. And I changed the name to Making Love Visible because it has an up-leveling feeling to it's all about love. That's such a general vibe. And so Making Love Visible in the show that you'll see in the future is all about how are we making love visible in our own lives, and how does that show up as a reflection for others. So I'm going to have some amazing guests on the program over the next several months and perhaps into the following years ahead. And I'm just grateful to be back, and I want to thank you all for catching me in the supermarket and saying, "Hey, June," or recognizing me in various places or hearing my voice. And I just really want to say thank you to all of the viewers for helping me to see where my value is important in making love visible. And with that being said, I'd like to introduce you to Faith Rivera, my first guest of the episode. Faith, welcome.
Oh, thank you, June. I am so happy to be here for your reboot. I love that you said this is up-leveling, and so on behalf of all of Hawaii, we're saying like, yay, June is back, June is back, and I'm just happy I get to be here.
Yes,
so,
me
yay,
too,
talk
me too.
about love, be in
Yes.
love.
So I met Faith, well actually I stalked her. I stalked her quite a while to find out. I heard the song that she wrote, and I said, I've got to meet her. And when I first met her, via the internet, I think it was, I sent her a message. It's been a long time. And I discovered she was living in Los Angeles. And she's a local girl, finally having moved back to the island.
Mm-hmm.
And so having her here has just been a delight with her husband and her 2 kids. And so she, by the way, she is an Emmy award-winning musician, songwriter, and singer. And so I just like to, if we can bat around a few questions for
Let's
one
do
another.
it.
She said, I want to interview you.
Yes.
And so however it shows up for the next half an hour or so, we'll get to know each other and how Faith works in our community here on Oahu and really worldwide for her performances and what she does to show up to make love visible. And so I'm just so glad that you're here. So what brought you back home? That's what I want to know first.
Wow. Well, you talked about love. I mean, and Hawaii, right? It's all about ohana. And so we had been gone. My husband and I, he's a St. Louis boy. I'm a Sacred Hearts girl. And we left for college way back when, 5 years ago or more. And, we had kids later on in life. And once we had these 2 little munchkins and living in Long Beach, which I loved. I loved my career. My husband loved his work, at NBC Universal. But our friends were just too spread apart, and we wanted to give the kids this Hawaii experience, this real ohana. So we came home to be with grandma and grandpa and cousins and aunties and uncles. And so it was definitely love. I mean, that we feel like we made more love visible in that way to make that decision. And it wasn't an easy decision, but after a while, it was the obvious decision for what we wanted for our kids. Whoopsie.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Our
So
heart.
in returning home while your husband has found this place, what's
Yeah.
that been like for your career? And where have you had to stretch to, I'm just going to say, love yourself through the ups and downs, and to share with other people that perhaps are musicians or other people that are curious about what does an entrepreneur musician go through when they transition back home?
So in mainland, I was a touring artist, doing positive music, as you know, and also doing some work for TV and film. And so to move home, I gave up, the touring, which is all I've done. I mean, that's, I made albums, we tour, we sell them. So to come home, it was a challenge. To be home, we lived with my mother-in-law, who I love. Maybe she'll be watching this, but it wasn't my own space, right? I'm there with my mother-in-law. Nolan gets to leave to go work. He ended up at Punahou. We're so grateful. And I'd just be there at the most gorgeous view, right? Looking at Cocoa Head. She's on Mariners Ridge, overlooking the bay, but like kind of mad at the world, to be honest, doing dishes. and just playing like the little violin story of like
the smallest violin in the world.
Smallest violin, like poor me. You know, I get to look at this gazillion-dollar view, you know. But really, I kind of lost myself for a bit when I moved here, because I think, especially in our culture, our work becomes our identity. That's what I found out for me. And I'm like, wait, there's actually more to me. And so it launched me to create my Rise album, which was, you know, a lot of collaborators here in Hawaii, and me just taking a stand, me like throwing away the tiny violin, you know, and saying like, I need to really love me through this process and know that I'm more than what I thought I was. Yes. And there's more. That's what I committed myself, is like, I told the universe, I'm like, show me. I mean, I'm here, you know, I'm not perfect, but I have my gifts and skills, and I want to serve, and I love people. That's one of my talents, is loving people.
And as a musician, or as an artist, it's easy to give that gift away when it comes so natural, and yet to be able to ask for the money, for your worth.
Yes.
Those with talent often struggle in that.
Oh my gosh, you're so right, because the album I did here called Rise was my first crowdfunded album. But haven't you found, June, that when it's an inspired thought, and it's not so much even about me, kind of like how you're doing your show, you get so inspired by the idea of you want to bring more love. Mine was, I want to empower all the other women and men that may feel like, you know, their chances are gone. Like, you know, like I've already lived the highlight of my life. I'm like, hell no. I'm like, I don't know if you could swear on here, but like hell no. Like, I feel like the best part of my life could still be present here if I would say yes to my worthiness, you know.
And there was something powerful that happened for me during just before the pandemic. I may have shared with you folks, and if I didn't, I'm going to share with you now. It took me 12 years to write a book called The Benefit of the X. And the subtitle is Making Love Visible When Everything Changes. And making love visible when everything changes is a challenge, and that's what Faith experienced during her move back. And so at my book signing in February, just before the pandemic rolled out.
That's right.
Faith's song was the lead song. And this is the book. The Benefit of the X, Making Love Visible When Everything Changes. I'm going to say Faith's song Rise was the song for the breakout. It was like, let's rise above it. Let's become above it. And so it's been a very powerful piece for me. And I think when you're an artist, things stir you that all of a sudden money doesn't matter, love doesn't matter. It's just about being. And that becomes an attraction, and you become an inspiration. Yes.
But it has to come, here's the interesting thing is, because we've had many conversations, sometimes when we're artists and, you know, we're trying to be creative, we try to put on that business hat of like, well, how could we sell it? How could, you know, living in Hawaii, everybody knows, how are we going to pay my mortgage? And that's a whole other conversation. Sometimes that feels different from the pure inspiration, you know, and I know we're honestly, I'm still honestly trying to cross that bridge of how do you bring that, the passion and the vision for what's next, and marry it with, you know, the prosperity to support, you know, that vision. And so.
And be humble and authentic. And still live a rich life.
Yes.
So that's interesting. That's an interesting thought. So this last month, I always say, well, actually, so I've had a destination wedding business for the last 13 years. And it came to me through being of service through prison ministry at Halava for 5 years. Prior to that, facilitating Toastmasters at Double Triple C for 3 years. And so as my wedding business unfolded, and it came to me through this statement from Reverend Tony Barron, there's enough love and money for everyone. How can I support you?
I love that.
And so not until, like, I've been working from that platform for a long time, and this last month, in the month of November, I changed it to there's enough money and love for everyone. How can I support you? Because as an artist and a passionate person, we tend to be maybe even codependents, where we're always giving to other people and lifting people up. Yet somehow our cup overflows in all the right ways. So trusting that process of what comes forward. And so that's really the premise of the show and Making Love Visible is how do we show up as love and see it in others as the gift for living?
Well, on that point, I had been a guest musician for, her name is Patricia Cota Robles, for those that maybe have heard of her. She did the World Congress on Illumination for like 36 years.
I remember her. She did an event here.
Okay, she did. Okay.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
you invited me.
Always seeing each
I
other.
do remember that one.
So, but I remember her sharing, because light workers, these are people that want to make a difference, people that are, you don't even know, people traveling the world, blessing the water, kind of thankless, seemingly thankless work. Well, all these light workers would come, and she would only hold these events in 5-star resorts. Okay. And I remember going, I was like, it's so lush, all this and this. And she had said, you know what, if your mission is to uplift, right, others and the planet,
Yes.
you need to be supported. So she was truly trying to train the mindset, because as you said, many of us that want to serve, I mean, we're serving from, I don't know what, our pennies. You know what I mean? Like you give and give to a point, and we forget the circulation part.
Yes.
Means we are in that formula, and that for us to give as much as we want, we need to also be as well supported. So it's been a ongoing lesson, but I know you were just sharing about fabulous Costa Rica, and there's something about us feeling into those moments when we do feel that richness.
Yes.
And like I said, in my mind and heart, merging it with then the mission. I'm like, oh, can you be rich in all ways from the inside out, and give from the overflow? That's what I love.
Absolutely.
Michael Beckwith. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Overflow.
And another Michael Beckwith is does the universe correspond with the nature of your song?
Wait, say that again.
Is the universe corresponds with the nature of your song? So in other words, when you are doing something that maybe it's your intuition or your gut, or here in Hawaii we call it our na'au, right around our solar plexus, where you just get this feeling where it's not right, it's not corresponding with the nature of your song. And the minute you know that, you have this place where you drop in and everything just sings for you. Especially in your case as a singer. Yeah, definitely. So Faith mentioned Costa Rica. And I had many years ago up at 3660 on the Rise on Kamaki Avenue, when they first opened, I was up there meeting a friend, and another woman walked in, and her name is Heather. And she had a box, and it had a Tommy Bahama shirt in it. Well, she ended up come to find out she was the rep for Tommy Bahama. And we became very good friends, and over the years, traveled once to Europe together on my first trip. And she moved away after living here for 27 years. And then she worked for a real estate company, and her boss gifted her a trip for 2, all expenses paid, to Costa Rica. And she invited me. And I'm like, ding. Oh, wait, I'm trying to pay bills. I got to work. I got stuff to do. This is going on. And can I accept all of this good? And it's not the only example that has shown up. Last night I went out to dinner with my boyfriend, which I have now. I have a fabulous boyfriend, and I'm going to interview him. Just you wait. He's gonna be on the set with us too.
He's a cutie.
He's a darling. And so as I came around the corner, I had a brief moment. I'm going to see a parking space that's just for me. And sure enough, it was the second space in a very limited spot.
Got it.
And typically what shows up is there's always more than enough parking. Always. I am blessed
You're
with
the parking
I've got
queen.
Grace is with me all the time. And so there's abundance everywhere. It's just, what am I willing to open up to? And you said to me earlier, Faith, what is this? What is your intention with this show? And I said, oh, are you interviewing me? And she said, well, we can interview each other. It was a fun moment.
Why the reboot? You know?
Why the reboot? And the truth of it is that when I ask you the question, how are you making love visible? Not only is it creating something quirky, like zesty, like maybe there's a little ha-ha or like something intimate about it, and truthfully, I like that. I like that kick of energy. Yet at the same time, making love visible is the same thing as being aloha. How are you being? Like, we see the bumper stickers everywhere. We know alo is the breath of life, right? And so how are we breathing into the space of making love visible? And so my intention with the show is that with guests like you, Faith, is that you see how Faith brings this forward in her life, and you think to yourself, I just walked away from this show with something that June's guest shared that really stirred me to reach deeper into what I'm creating in my own life. And so with that creation, where are you reaching in your life where you feel like you're making love visible? And it might not just be with just music, but other areas.
You know, it's interesting you asked that, because I've been thinking about that, you know, in my older years. Although I don't like to claim that. I mean, my more mature years.
That's what I say.
Yeah, my more mature years, I noticed that, especially I have a new pop R&B group called Solux, you know, old school R&B, and I notice I'm finding myself, wow, I'm the, not the kahuna, but I'm the, you know, I'm the older one in the group. That really, my role to mentor and to, I mean, not that I'm going to live my life differently, but it's interesting thinking like, wow, these younger, they're kids, they're not really kids, but you know, these younger artists are kind of probably watching how you know, how do I show up in all these situations. So in one way, I think really accepting our role for those of us that are more mature now, because I forget which speaker had heard this, but it was so impactful, because he said, especially in the Western culture, we see sometimes how our elders get put into the homes, or somehow their voice becomes diminished because, you know, maybe they're more frail. However, you know, they have so much wisdom in them.
Yes.
And not that they have all the answers, but they have lived their life. And so the call was asking the, you know, the kupuna and the, you know, the teachers and the elders to like confidently step into this role of how can we move our, you know, planet forward together? How can we be kinder? You know, and to really own their voice. That's what I'm trying to say. Versus us feeling like, I'm getting older. You know, it's so easy to judge ourselves.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
this hurts more. My hair's gray. My blah, blah. And it's like, wait a second. What if this is the next, you know, greatest level of your life? But it just hasn't been defined that way according to society.
And change keeps happening.
Yes.
As we keep maturing, change keeps happening. And
versus stagnation.
Right.
Which we allow ourselves sometimes to think,
oh,
you're dying off, versus what if you're getting better?
Right. and the truth is that there's a gift in sharing of that. And so with change, I want to just share for a minute. I know that the music industry has shifted. Well, there was 45s and 78s and LPs, and then there were
You're
CDs.
going way back.
Yeah,
okay,
well, I'm older. I'm 61 years old now. Something of that happened. So I don't care how old you are and what age you're watching the show at. Their records are coming back.
They are.
You can buy records now.
They are.
So if you need a phonograph, you can buy one on I guess,
Amazon,
on Amazon,
probably
right?
Amazon.
And probably pretty soon we'll have record stores here again.
Yeah.
Oh, I used to love to go to Tower Records on Makaloa. That was so cool. We would drink a lot of red wine, and then we'd go look for Carole King. Anyway,
how long did you live here? You're like more local than
Look, I've been here 42 years. I've been here a long time.
You have.
Yeah, my son says, just don't speak pidgin, Mom. You ruin it for us natives. So I do my best not to. So the reason why I mention that is because Faith has something here, and she's gifting it. So would you just share a little bit about this piece?
Hey, you know, this is a journal, and it's called The World is Waiting for You. And actually, one of the songs in there is called that. It's the best of my first 3 albums. And I think a very beautiful journal with mindful questions and lyrics filled with these inspirational songs. And I love June's show, and I love everything that she's about. So I told her I'm going to bring a few of these. And for any of you that are watching, all you have to do is be the first ones to email me at aloha@faithrivera.com. Maybe say something about the show, or maybe what you're doing to make love visible. And we'll get this to you. I'll mail it to you. How's that?
or you can come meet up with us. We'll maybe, who knows? We'll figure out something. So she's brought 4 of these. So I would say act on it, and it's aloha@faithrivera.com. Yeah, aloha@faithrivera.com. And so it's I have one of these too, by the way. I have all of hers, and I'm just so I'm so grateful to have a piece of you within my life.
A piece of me.
Yeah, it's so great. And so what else? You were
well,
going
I
to say
wanted
else.
to share, because you know whole show is like, how do you make love visible? So something new that I'm focusing on is really using the power of music to help others either say their story or like write an affirmation chant for themselves. I call it a heart song. And I think it's like some of the most moving work I've done, because I know for my own self, and I know you use the power of music to transcend sometimes, you know what I mean, like the old tape that you know you've been working on, but it'll just still sneak in. So the power of music to transcend that and to write down a song of like love for someone who like wants to hear that about themselves every day is, I mean, it's everything. And
Yes.
and also I've, you know, that's for individuals, and I also have signature songs I'm starting to do for businesses as well, which is capturing their brand, right? The heart and soul of their message in the music. So those are some fun new ways I'm exploring how to serve through music and songwriting.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I know that when I hear your music, I sing really loud. I do.
I don't know if I've ever heard you sing yet.
It's good.
Oh my
It's
God.
probably a good thing because I actually I tried out for the Unity Choir.
Okay.
And with the pianist at the time, Dan Del Negro, when he was there, and he was so gracious. He said to me, "Well, let's. Is there a favorite song that you have?" After I tried one of the Unity songs,
Yeah.
and it was a Karen Carpenter song,
Okay.
and I thought it was cool because I won a prize once upon a time on a cruise ship for being the best singer, but I probably had a little bit to drink. Who knows? Anyway, and they've delivered champagne, so I thought maybe I was a singer, and he was so graceful. He said, "June, there are some people that really benefit from setting some time aside and really discovering if maybe a singing lesson might work for them."
Oh, so
And I'd like to invite you into that thought.
Oh,
And ever since
wow.
he was so kind, he was so graceful, and it was really the right way to do it.
Yeah.
And it let me know that I could, so I still sing really loud. I just, I don't think I'll do it for you, Faith.
No, but I am so glad that you still sing loud,
I
you
do.
know, because, you know, a lot of my journey was about the stage fright. And so I'm so passionate now still to encourage people, I mean, to have what you naturally have, which is like, well, hell, I'm still going to sing anyway.
Yes.
You know, because it's your own joy. And so many people are, I'm sorry to say, but damaged
Right.
by people saying that, especially when they're children.
Well,
when they're
there was one
kids,
friend
yeah.
that actually said to
Yeah.
me, "What happened? Did your mama forget to give you singing lessons when you were
Oh
a kid?"
my gosh.
And that was a stab.
Yeah.
And he never knew it, and I never said anything, yet I felt it.
Yeah.
And so when Dan was, and by the way, he plays the piano and sings at Lure's Lounge
Yes.
on the weekends or on occasion. So I love to get to see him. So yeah.
One day you'll surprise them
Yeah.
and be like, bust out a tune. And
Right. So we've just got a few more minutes.
Oh,
The
wow.
time goes by super
Yeah, it
fast.
does, it does.
Is there anything that is outside of the realm that we've already talked about in making love visible that you'd like to share?
I actually do. You know, one thought I have is if you're thinking like, well, I don't know what that is. I don't know how to make love visible. I'd say follow your joy. Follow what makes you happy. I think we get so caught up, you know, sometimes in life and all the to-dos that we just forget to even ask, like, wait, does this actually make me happy? And so I'm asking you to ask yourself that question, what really lights you up? Because if it lights you up, then you're authentically just going to show up in love and joy. And then, I mean, it can be that simple. Sounds so simple when I say it.
Yes.
But it's being brave enough to stop and to ask that question.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a point where, and that's based on feeling. That's based
Yeah.
on feeling within you.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden you notice this chatter and it's wow, 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 and all of a sudden, whoa, just take a look at where you're at for yourself. And for many of us, it's hard to love ourselves first. First. Love yourself first. And without loving when you are gracious and kind to yourself first, anything is possible because you show up that way.
Yeah.
And it begins to shift. It's not their fault or his fault or their fault or their fault. When you see everything is wrong around you, oh, gee, I wonder what the common denominator is. No way, it's me. And so the invitation then is to go like, okay, so if it's me, where's that awareness coming from? And how can I love myself?
Yeah.
So that's a very good invitation. Thank you.
Could I add one more thing,
Of
especially
course.
for the moms and dads or caretakers? I realized at a certain point that yes, it's great to provide shelter and all those other things we do for our children, people we take care of. And there's something about showing them what a happy mommy looks like, a mommy who has passion, a mommy who that sings, even though, and tries again, even though she's scared, and recreating herself. I know there's value in that, to put that focus, that love gaze on yourself. Like it serves others. We don't think it does somehow, but it's probably our greatest gift.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, again, let's share your email.
Yes.
So if anybody is interested in one of these, the world is
Yes.
waiting for you with Faith Rivera's music and this lovely journal. Yeah, share the email once again because she's gifted 4.
Yes.
And so the first 4 people that send a little note saying,
Email.
I saw you on June's show, Making Love Visible on Olelo, and I love you, or whatever you have to say.
Or maybe sharing, something you got from the show,
Yeah.
or how you're making love visible. So it's aloha@faithrivera.com. It's river with an A.com. So I'll be looking for your email because I want to give these away.
Awesome. Oh, gosh. So, Faith, I'd like to thank you very much for your time and coming today and being the very first guest on the show, Making Love Visible. I am really excited for what you create in the future. I look forward to working with you again and again and again as time goes by and celebrating the way you bring love forward in your life and the way you touch mine. So thank you. And for all of you that are watching, thank you for spending this first half hour of the show together with Faith and myself. It's been an honor. And hey, stay tuned for the next show because it's all about love. And making love visible is the way it's all about love. So hashtag making love visible. Hashtag Olelo Community Media. I love you. Aloha.
Aloha.